G'day guys, it's Scott here and welcome to another Pod TV. Really excited to have you all back in 2020. Today we're going to be talking about planning your CPD. So this one will be a good one for new graduates, I hope, and even a refresher for all us established podiatrists. But before we get onto that, big heads up, Simon Barthold's Athletic Masterclass is coming up February 15th in Brisbane at West Rugby Union Club. Great food, great venue, and it'll be great company. This is obviously a super hot topic at the moment with the Nike Vaporflies, and Brooks have just released the Hyperion Elites, which is going to obviously be the market competitor at this point in time. So really hot topic. Everyone I've spoken to has said this is an absolute cracker. So let's get amongst it. Simon Barthold, who is the premium expert on footwear in our industry, doing a masterclass on athletic footwear. Great way to refresh, great way to get around it, great way to start 2020. So I'll see you guys there. Get your tickets at podiatry17.com. There's a link on the page in the shop. See you then. So let's talk about planning your CPD, all right? So I think the big mistake everyone makes with this is we've got to kill the Christmas rush. There seems to be a lot of people I talk to who are, friends, colleagues, all that type of stuff. And this is no criticism to them. They can do it whatever they want to do, but they do the Christmas rush. At the end of the year, they're like scramble to collect CPD points. So I think we've got to make a big change. We've got to start now at the start of this year and plan it out, and just plan it out in a really easy method of doing it. So one of the biggest things I hate, and I've said this before, is hearing people go, and I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to criticize anyone for this, it's just a pet hate thing, but people go, oh, how many hours CPD do I get for that? Or how many, there's a lid, or whatever, or I finished my CPD for the year. Don't be wrong, completely reasonable thing to ask in those things, because you might be doing maths or whatever, but in the principle of what you're asking is, you're saying you don't really care about the content, you just care about completing what you're required to complete. Now, the idea of that established program of professional development is to make sure, one, we stay up to standard and we stay ahead as a profession. So, it's standardized, but also it's a great opportunity to grow personally and professionally. So I think that's what people need to grasp. When you're looking at CPD, you need to go, okay, this is my chance to make myself a better person, a better podiatrist, a better employee, whatever. Not just, I've got to do 20 hours, so I've got to tick the boxes and away I go. If that was the case, I can tell you now there's 100 million different ways and easier ways to do it. Programs like the Ultimate Podiatrist, Josh, our mate there, it's like, is it $450, Josh? I'm sure you'll correct me, but jump on his Ultimate Podiatrist site, you jump on there and he's got everything you need to complete your CPD for the year. So there's way easier ways to do it, which you can start now, and that might be a really good way to start. And there's lots of different programs like that. But in starting now, well, how should you approach this? Well, you've got to look at where you want to go. Now, as a new graduate, you don't know where you want to go. You might think you want to go somewhere, and that's great, and you can follow that, but you also want to grab a whole lot of different skills from different areas to work out what it is. Now, you might go, I want to own a business. And so how that's great, you've said it. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to do a biomechanics course. Well, that doesn't help you own a business. I'm going to go do a management course. Oh, that will help you. You go do a management course or an administrational course, and suddenly you go, I don't want to own a business. Nah, that's way too much for me for the moment. I'm going to go do a biomechanics course next time because I want to just become a better podiatrist. That's what I'm here to do. So that's what you've got to think about, is where do you want to go? So if you have that ultimate goal of being the best, that's great, but I definitely think you should pick up some other things on the way just to make sure, especially in your first 3 to 5 years, to make sure you are on the right pathway for you. Because, to be honest, I didn't expect to be doing this regularly, and I'm not saying I'm brilliant at it or anything like that. I enjoy doing it, I enjoy interacting with people, meeting people, but it wasn't something I expected I would be doing constantly, and I've invested time in trying to become better at this. This Facebook Live thing, that's what I'm talking about. So when you go and do a CPD event, the other thing I see people do is they huddle in and try and get everything done, especially new grads. You don't, like, we're offering a course in Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne for our dry needling and FMT. I've put them together because they're two of the manual skills that people want to pick up quickly, but also obviously you can do them independently. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those courses are listed on the page just as a selfless plug. It's my podcast or Facebook Live. But the you've got to remember, when you do one of these things, you've got to then be able to apply it on day one. We talk about this a lot. So I'm going to talk about conquering an acquired skill. So if you go out and do, let's say, dry needling, you should be conquering that skill before you try and acquire a new skill. And one, it's, if your boss pays for it, it's showing value there. If you've committed time to it, you're, I guess, paying yourself back. And I mean, the other thing is, you might find you really don't like that type of skill set, and that's fine as well, but you gave it enough of a go to prove that it wasn't for you. So I've got a little criteria for conquering a skill. In my opinion, it's very basic, and everyone will have their own, but make yourself a criteria for conquering that skill. I think using it every day with a good understanding of the measure and outcomes to expect. So with dry needling, you got really like tense hypotonic muscle, and you just, oh my god, and then you needle it and it relaxes, for example. Look, that might not be right, but it could be something that you might go, oh, that's a good measure, and I've probably done a really good needling job. The person jumps off the table and goes, geez, that feels heaps better, I feel so much better, and they're sort of doing calf raises for the first time. You also know the feel, so you know what it feels like to hit the right spot and how to get those twinges that you need and whatnot with your needling, and you're using it every day. It might only be once a day, but you're using it every day. Because if you're not attempting to use the skill, you probably haven't conquered it yet. The second one is, you're never saying, and this is moving on, you're never saying, oh, I was restricted for time. If you've gone and done a dry needling course and spent the money on a dry needling course, and I mean, ours is $400 for the day, some of these courses are over $1,000. If you've gone and done that, you'd want to be doing it all the time and find a way to make it work. So if you don't have time in your consult, book another consult for them to come back for some needling. Talk to your boss, your employer, your supervisor, your colleagues at how to make it work. Because if you're saying, oh, I never have enough time, time's the restriction, you haven't conquered the skill. Okay, you've got to make a way. If you want to do it and conquer the skill, you're going to make a way and find a way. And then be confident to demonstrate it to colleagues. I think that is super important. If you're confident enough to show some colleagues your skill set, you've conquered that skill. So that's my 3. So using every day and understanding the feel, the measure, and the outcomes. Never saying that time is the restriction that's not allowing you to do it. You'll find a way. And being confident to show off your skills. I think that's a really simple little program. And how have you conquered a skill that you've just learned? Now, I've got notes once again. I already said that. So aim to collect a manual skill every year. So, like I said, you're a graduate from your first 2, 3, 5 years. You don't need to rush out and get it all done immediately. So personally, I'd recommend dry needling first. I think it's a really handy skill. I think it works more for a lot more people. But in saying that, in recent years, I've probably swaying towards manual. Doing foot mobilisation is also really, really handy, and you can be used on general care as well. So getting 1 a year is all you need, and then taking that year to conquer that skill is a great way to approach this situation. Doing both is fine, but you've got to have the confidence to crack them in together. So don't feel selfish about growing yourself. Let's go back. So you take a manual skill every year, because there's only so many actual manual skills in podiatry. There's lots, but let's say there's dry needling. We've got our S&C course. There's foot mobilisation. I mean, you could go down therapeutics. Obviously, there's the other pathways to sports podiatry and peds. But manual therapy courses themselves, there's not a whole heap for us, mate. PRP injections, there you go. There's not a whole heap, so don't need to clam more in the first year and then sort of sit there and go, oh, I've dried up all my options, what am I going to do for the next couple of years? Because what's going to happen is you're not going to have anything to do, and you're going to get bored, and you're going to get into a bit of a run. So spread it out. Don't feel selfish about growing yourself. Don't feel selfish about going and finding an administration course or a business course or something like that, and talking to, if you've got your CPD in your contract, talking to your owner about that CPD and using that to personally grow yourself. Because like I said the other week, if as an owner, if you invest time in your staff, you will grow them personally, and if you grow them personally, you'll find that you will get a better professional or podiatrist out of them. So as an employee, don't feel selfish to actually just go and ask them, look, at uni, before I did podiatry, I went and did arts, and I actually did an academic writing course. Now, I have a history background. My father's a history teacher. I did very well in that subject, but it helped me adapt to the way the universities use their different referencing systems and stuff, and it actually was one of the most helpful subjects I've ever done. So don't hesitate to go and learn those things. They're super, super useful. Now, if in that case, just a quick summarise that as well, when you get given a CPD package, a lot of people get about $2,000, the boss can say no. Obviously, that's an investment they're making in you to help their business as well. So just be considerate of that. If that doesn't work for you, maybe consider negotiating that out and just getting into your wage, and you'll invest yourself into your CPD. But if by doing that as well, you've got to make sure you're doing something in CPD, you're doing something with that money contributing to CPD every year. So employers, I guess, if you're scared that people aren't going to do the CPD and they just want more money, you can actually set up, yep, you can, but we're going to review CPD, and when it gets to December and you're saying you haven't done any courses, you know, we're going to have a sit down and chat, because I'll be concerned about how you're giving back. Now take the time to consider some other things about where you're going. So where you want to be in a year, 3 years and 5 years. Now, I would nearly not worry about that too much in your first 2 years. Personally, I think you should just enjoy podiatry, find what you love in the industry, and then start moulding your pathways, and then you can start funneling really nicely in to that fine niche that you want to do, whether it's peds, surgical, high risk, biomechanics. You start wide and come in, because there's lots and lots of different things, and then look at your long-term goal, and does the course align with that long-term goal and getting there. I mean, if you want to be a business owner, as I said, you wouldn't be doing biomechanics course. You're most likely going to consider doing some sort of administration or management role, depending on what type of business you're going to own. So really, really important. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I hope this helps. So consider your CPD. Remember to conquer a skill before you go and learn a new one. And don't be selfish about growing yourself. You don't have to just look at podiatry skills. You can go and do other courses. There's so much professional development out there. And as a podiatrist, we are professionals. So let's embrace it. I'll see you guys next week. Look forward to seeing you guys around. Please remember, get on podiatry17.com. Get amongst the courses, guys. And I will see you next time.